Hello, everybody, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Tina. It's so great to be here crafting with you. I have been spending a lot of time preparing projects to be able to get to craft and put them together and see the finishing result. So I've been a lot in the prep stage lately. I have been working with this travel junk collection from Photoplay Paper, and I've been using a new system that I have, which is basically I pre-cut my layouts right away. So I open up my paper pack, do three. I do three layouts, usually based on sketches, and then I try to get maybe another layout if it seems like I have a lot of paper left, using paper saving techniques, and I just love it. My husband and I have been in Europe, spending some time in Europe the past couple years, and 2 years ago, when we spent some time in England, I loved it, and I still haven't finished scrapbooking it, right? That's some of my current stuff, all right? So this is the travel junk collection. You can see I have some pieces left, as well as some paper in here that I'm destashing that I've added some coordinating colors to. I've taken the sticker sheet out. I have been going back and forth between the stickers and the ephemera pack. I have some bits and pieces in here because I'm working with it. I also like to pull things out of my stash that I think are going to match, and I throw them in this little case. I found some bling that I thought would work, and I am looking forward to sharing this with you. Okay, so this was all the rage a couple of years ago. It could have even been a few. I feel like I'm in a time warp. If you too are just like, I have no idea where the time has gone past 5 years, you go ahead and comment. We'll join the club together. This is layout 19 out of our sketchbook for the year, the 2025 Scrapping with You sketchbook. And this one is so simple. I want to make sure I get the right size on this. I think I have I've taken my little ruler, which is my favorite, and it is behind me. Let me grab that. Okay. I have some projects laid out. All right, so here's what you do. It's wonderful. This is like a last chance sketch. All right, so your squares measure 2 and it's an off size, it's like 2 1/8 or so, or 2 5/8 or something. I want to make sure, that's why I want to make sure that I get. Okay, so they are 2 3/8. Okay, so 2 3/8 are the size that I used. Now here's the thing. You don't have to use 2 3/8. You can use 2 1/4 or 2, and your heart will just be smaller because you're still going to line up your pieces with, little distances in between them, whether you want to do an eighth or a quarter or whatever it was going to be. I think a quarter is a little too much, but personal preference. So for the heart that I made here, I used the standard squares that we had, and those are 2 3/8, and then you cut them all on a diagonal. That's it. I don't think it really matters which way you cut them either, because you're going to have some sideways, you're going to have some in other ways. And then what I did was I have this kind of goldy ink. It's called Acorn from Close to My Heart. I inked all of my pieces. Now I have it laid out to save a little bit of time so you can get an idea here. And I'm just going to tell you some tidbits on how I lined mine up. Now I have a couple of things. One is the paper behind this here is gutted. I will flip that over and show it to you, but my pieces aren't down. I do that when I know I want to get at least 6 layouts to a paper. I will gut some of my pattern papers, and literally I will gut them ahead of time and say this will make a really nice background page, because that's what works for me. I grab that paper out, I separate it into 3 2-page sketches each, so 6 pages total, and then I move on. This is such a great paper saver, and I have had people ask, how would I incorporate this into a 2-page layout? And I'm going to share some tips with you, but all I did was I took the point of these 2 right here and lined it up with the 6. No matter whether you put a background or not, that should line up with the 6 in between those 2. And your 2 little points that go together down here, that little gap that's in between them, that should land at the 6. Now, after I put my heart together, I realized it is a little lower and I'm going to want to center it. So what I'm going to do is just kind of go over the pieces with you really quickly. And I would say this would be a great time to take a screenshot or save the video. I'm going to be adding some photos to the top, and I guess you could leave a couple out. It's just not something I like to do when I'm spacing things. I work better if I have all my pieces and they're just scraps. All right. So what I did is I formed my point with these two right here, making sure that the little space in between the two lined up at the 6. Then twisting those triangles to the other side, I put 2 down. Then I just did a square, a square, a square, and a square, and it really doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if they end this way or if you rotate them, and you'll notice that this is a different way. I have this one on top and this one. I rotated mine all over the place. It was good to go. All right, and then 2 full ones underneath of those. So 4 full ones in the center with those spaces in between them, of course. And then halves on the outside, bringing in the V. So a half a one and then half and a half there. All right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to glue this all down. I did ink all these pieces as I mentioned, so that is really adding a lot to this. I'm going to glue all these down and then I'm going to come on back and put the final touches on with you. Okay, we are back and I'm done, and I have to tell you, this was a lot of fun. I actually found out that not all my pieces were equal. I just let them go. I feel like it has a really nice kind of organic feel to it, and I don't need it to be perfect. I really am trying to give myself some grace lately in life and in my crafting. Here's the paper that I gutted. Now this was a hard gut for me because when I do a lot of my kind of vintage junk vibe stuff, I love tags. So this was really hard for me to gut this paper, knowing I was going to lose a bunch of tags, but I got a bunch of tags in the middle, some whole ones, and then I shared in a prior video, I actually kept a lot of the tags because if you tuck those under a picture, you would never know the rest of the tag is not there. So in my case with my ephemera pack, I also have some mixed pieces. Another thing I did is they have epoxy dyes papers, which I absolutely love. I love the epoxy dye papers. They work with the epoxy shapes and they have become a big favorite of mine to use. I'm realizing I didn't pull them over, so I'm actually going right into my quick crafting pile to grab those. I have those right here, so I may have to do a quick run through my die cutting machine. All right, I have a couple of pictures here. Now, this is going to be part of my Stonehenge layouts. I have multiples, but there's a lot of different things. I have a picture of George and I that someone was kind enough to take. It was a cold day. we were in England. It was a little bit of a cold day. It was windy. We were coming off of a transatlantic cruise. So we had already been on vacation for a couple weeks at this point, and it was a tiring day. This was, I believe, day 1 or day 2 of our England stay. And then this beautiful Celtic cross was out in the woods area. We actually did the hike all the way up to Stonehenge. We didn't take the bus. So, but we stopped and we just stared at this for, it was a few minutes. We really liked it. We thought it was just beautiful stonework. So I thought this would be a really nice place to add some little tidbits here. And then of course a picture of us, and I am thinking I'm going to be right about here. Now, this actually shows this one on top, but I really love the cross. I may switch it and put it the other way and then put this on foam tape, but we'll just see how it goes as I start adding all my bits. Okay, now for that heart, you can see it all came together. I'll show you one more time. Here it is. And some of my spaces are equal and some are a little off. I've only done this once, so you know, I'm going to have fun and keep experimenting with it. If you want your heart to be smaller, just do those squares smaller than the 2 3/8 that I did, and it will make your pieces smaller, so your heart will just grow smaller. You still put them all in the same spots. Okay. All right, I have these great stickers, and then I have little tidbits. And what I don't want to do is cover very much of this up. So I know that I'm going to have a kind of less is more happening. I had some epoxy in my stash. I grabbed that. I'm always looking to use items from my stash, and I don't want to cover a lot of this up, and I am just crafting on the fly. So we are going to just grab a few little bits out of here and see if I find things that I like. I love this one. I'm going to have to save that for something. And I'm just pulling some pieces out that I think might work, and that's all I do. And then when I go back in, I will cut some more of the little circles out from the epoxy dies, and I'll put all the information in the description for all the products I used. Another thing I've been doing is I have some shaped dies that I've been working with lately, and I've been keeping some extra pieces of those. I think I'm not going to put any tags on this one. Okay, I feel like I'm going pretty good. And I won't use all of the bits that I have out. I just want to have some. All right, I like this. This is a very nice selection that I can bring together. All right, here we go. I have this vacation time, and I used just papers, solid papers that I have from my stash. This one here is papaya. Close to my heart's papaya. I liked that with it. And then I have, I think that's beach grass from Photo Play. And I have a brown. It might be a mocha or something similar. I mix all my papers now. Mix them all. They're fabulous. All right, I'm going to grab my acorn too so I can do some inking. I'm just going to have that right off to the side. I'm going to do this vacation time so it can sit for a minute. This is out of the epoxy dies paper as well, this vacation time. They always have sayings on them, and I really like those. I'm a person who likes to have words and such on top of my photos, so it works for me. Okay. And each time I go back to my case, I tend to pull little things out. All right. I am debating on if I want to add this camera or not. So I'm just going to put it on me, some stuff that I feel like I might like. I'm just going to throw those on me, but not leave them on there too long, because if I leave them on there too long, when I pull them off, it really gets me. Okay, there we go. That's a little bit lighter. And I don't want to, as I said, cover too much of it up. I really like this, A Journey of a Lifetime, but I don't want to cover this photo up. So that is kind of where I'm into this. It may have to go this way instead. All right, we'll see there. There's a cute little Travel the World, and I like that. This one says travel more. I have a vacation time. That kind of matches my photo mat, so I'm not sure if I'm gonna, do some swapping off. I have that one there. I'm gonna see if I like this tucked. I kind of like that a little bit. It is a little taller than I would like, though. We'll see. We'll see if we can make it work, right? Okay. And I'd like a little something behind this. So I'm looking at adding some type of a tag or a little piece, but I would like a different color. So I'm going to go to that case and just kind of see maybe what I had in the tags that I saved that I could tuck in. Sometimes I even flip things over and just say, can I use the other side? I've been using a lot of this. I have this on my station. It is a tag topper. I love it. It's fantastic. Just hovering things. I feel like I just don't have the color that I want. So I think I'm going to just do some paper tucking right there. Let me go ahead and reach into my bag for some leftovers. I'm just going to try to find like a little bit darker of a paper. I love this suitcase paper, and I haven't used very much of it. I think cutting a little bit of this off is going to be the perfect thing. All right, we'll see. We're going to cut this off, a little bit of inking, and that'll give me something to play with. I even have a little something something on the other side there. I want to flip them over. All these papers are so great. Let's see if I like this. I kind of feel like I'm going to prefer a more solid, and I have a piece that I'm going to think about flipping over. I would do this one, but it's backwards. This only works if you tuck it in on the other side. All right, here we go. I feel like that's busy. All right, I'm going to stick with my guns and go with this. Let me just try to shove this under here and see. I think I like that. I like the triple layer. I like all of that. I'm just going to strategically cover up that bottom portion, which means I have my camera here, and that's one of the things I like. So I may or may not go with my camera. And then this one says Adventures and Travels, and that might just be a little too much for this particular layout. I do think I like the camera on there, but I love a camera. I'm going to take that vacation time away, and that's going to do it for me. Okay, I'm going to try to put this back on the sticker sheet, and then I may add a couple of little arrows down here, some paper arrows, but I like it. It's working. A little bit of inking and we'll get it all down. All right. I like to have my guts before I go on, but I am a person who stresses over the little details. I find that even sometimes placing a piece of bling, if I'm tired and I've had a lot going on, even placing a tiny little piece of bling, I'll just be like, oh, do I have to pick where that's going to go? All right, here's what I have. I think this is going to look great. Foam tape for this guy here. You can also use an anti-static pouch. I use those all the time. All right. Let's get some foam tape going. The rules of foam tape are less is actually less. Okay. Here we go. And I don't think I'm going to put that on foam tape either. Let's go ahead. Oh, one's out. Okay, I have my smaller ones ready anyway. I love the ATG, the pink gun. That is what I normally use when I'm crafting, but when I'm doing videos, I find they're very clunky and they make a lot of noise. Right, I think it was right about here that I liked it. Let's see. I don't want to cover up the point of the heart because I want that to be obvious. Foam tape. Oh, it's espresso. Okay, that's an old piece of espresso. Could tell when I flipped the other side. I recently had a comment on one of my videos and someone reminding me of using craft foam instead of foam tape and how it's a lot more cost effective. And I think it's faster too. And sure enough, wouldn't you know, I was like, oh, I completely forgot about using craft foam over these years. I went and looked. I have a whole bunch of it. I haven't gotten it out and got into using it too much, but I did move it from its little buried area. There we go. But you can definitely use craft foam instead of 8 tons of foam tape. You can really use anything you want. That's the beauty of crafting, is that it's so personal and we all get to do whatever we want. I have a couple more projects to make with this, and I feel like with the pieces that I have left, I'm probably not going to make very many cards. So I am going to look for those last chance kind of, I want to have this on an angle. I want to look for some last chance scrapbook layouts with smaller pieces similar to this heart to kind of stretch this. This paper also works for when we were in Spain for me. I guess apparently if I go to Europe, I like to scrapbook it with older looking papers. I am going to peel off the bottom of my foam tape so I can slide it just a little bit on the picture. I don't want to cover up a lot, but I want a little bit. There we go. A little bit on an angle there. That's great. I have the Journey of a Lifetime. I'm going to just use regular adhesive for that. Just my tape runner. Okay. I want to see the edge of the picture. And that goes all the way across. There we go. All right. Realized left this up a little bit. Thank goodness. If not, I just cut this off. I'm not going to use it anyway, but that bottom where it has the date, the location, and the little piece, what's really nice when you work with junk stuff, you could do all kinds of tucking and do all the things. I'm going to take off the Dream Travel Repeat portion of this as well. Little bits, it just goes right in my case. All right, we'll put this under. I feel like I had this a little more turned. All right. It's that moment that I realized I didn't put adhesive on this one. Play the tucking game again. And then I'll have enough room to add this Travel More of that epoxy paper. I've slowly became moderately obsessed with the epoxy dyes paper. Okay, I really like the little 3 that kind of wraps around a little bit there. I'm enjoying that. So I'm going to keep that, and this is going to be a keeper for me. Now I wanted to check out this key. I really liked this key to see if I could kind of work that in here. And I'm going to want to put a little something on the hole that's in the tag probably. All right, let me grab those 3 little arrows that I had mentioned earlier I was thinking about putting on here. Even though the heart, it's all about the heart, I still want to add a few little tidbits here and there. There we go. One more. These are all right off the sticker sheet. Just find ways to tuck in some cute little things. I had originally thought maybe I would even put some trees on this, and then I was like, no, I'll pass. Let's grab that key. I kind of want it to, once again, just come a little past the tag, so everything just kind of keeps coming around there. That's my plan. I may end up putting the lock on there as well. Okay, as for the hole to the tag, that is always a thing for me. I'm never real sure what I want to do. So I'm first going to check to see if I would even want a bow on it. These are my bows. Cricut should name this bow after me at this point. See, I think this bow could be maybe a little too cutesy for this. So I'm just going to kind of lay it out. I have used in kits and my own personal crafting thousands of these. It's not hundreds. It's like thousands of them with all my kits. I'm just looking to see the 2 different colors. I kind of like the bow. It's kind of a me thing. It might be a little too cutesy for the average person, and I would get that. But, yeah, I'm kind of digging it. I'm going to put it on, I think, the lighter side. I'm just double checking it again. I think I actually like the darker side, so I'm going to go ahead and do it on the darker side. I'm going to put the 2 little pieces on foam tape, and this is actually a bow from the Cricut, and it is cut at 3/4 of an inch high. I don't even have to look. I even mark my labels. Look, black bows, 3/4. I keep that one in there, but here's how much of the bows I use. Let me grab some for you just so you can see. Here we go. I have them in red. I have them in black. I have them in a toffee brown, and then I have them in this green mini dot that I'm now obsessed with. All right, but I really love these. And if you have something like that you really like, it's so worth it to do them in bulk and just have them waiting for your crafting. All right, I am going to put a little ink on this bow haphazardly. There you go. That's how much it wanted. It said you could stop now, and I heard it. Okay, so here we go with the bow, and I'm going to go ahead and grab that lock that I had. You could definitely use the compass and other items. I'm very determined to use my stash. I've invested in a tremendous amount of craft supplies, and I want to use them. So I've been pulling things out and just using them as I go. All right. I use a lot of these. I love them. These are the epoxy shapes, and that travel more, that I kind of feel like I wished I had placed just a tiny bit lower, is going to get one of these. I'm just making sure. I'm trying not to touch it. It will pick up fingerprints. Travel more. Just rubbing it on. I want to make sure it stays put. And I keep both sets of my epoxy together. So I have the word bubbles and arrows, and I have the circles, and I just keep them all together in one of the storage envelopes that I have available. Okay. All right, so I feel like this is done. I feel like if I continue to just sit here and play with it and add and add and add, it's going to become too much. A little bit of glue on that. Just hit the camera with my head. I'm really sorry. I was trying to knock some sense into myself. I even like how it overlaps there. And let's just see what I have. I like to put a gem inside my bow right here, or a dot or something like that. So I'm not sure that I will like this as much, but we're going to give it a whirl, because sometimes you just got to let it go. I think I'm going to go with these instead of the colorful bling, but I'm going to put that colorful bling aside. This is what it's getting. Okay, I actually like it a little bit more than I thought. You never know. Okay, this looks really good. I actually really like this. Part of me wants to have like a little something up here, but I think it's just a desire to kind of balance. All right, I'm going to add some of the smaller bling on the edge of this Journey of a Lifetime. Boy, was it. I have some smaller bling there. And let's place a few more of these around. We'll go with 2 smaller ones right there. And it looks like I have decided to do these in 2s right now. I might go back, you never know. Okay. And these are going in the trash for me when I am done this layout. This is my final with this. I have also been giving myself a lot of permission to let things go. I'm adding some extra bling in here and there. That's going to do it for me. All right, here we go. I really like how this turned out. I do wish I had inked my stickers before I put them on. It's like, oh, can I? Sometimes it's not worth it. Let's just check this really quickly. I feel like they just needed a little something. If they want to come, then they were meant to be inked. Yeah, ink your stickers too. Do all the things. I do like it a little bit better. I only inked the front of them. And I thought I was eating them. Okay, here we go. There we go. And I really like that. there's a simplicity to it that I really enjoy, but it has lots of great details. Now, I could keep going. I could add tucks of paper along the edges. I could put more epoxy. I could have came in and added smaller, but I really feel like it has everything that I would like it to have. I really like the dimension of it. I wasn't sure about that camera because the camera to me doesn't look as vintage as a lot of the other things, but I do think it works because I have this big camera on. So I like that, and just kind of giving a moment of pause with that cross that I will also cover in my journaling. Now, this is not going to get any journaling unless I cave and I add right up here Stonehenge 2023, which is kind of possible, like that I might do that. That is currently the project I'm scrapbooking. Look at that little bow. And I think I have this bow in a separate design space file. And if I do, I'll go ahead and tag that so that I never, mess with it. And I'll go ahead and put the link in the description of the video as well. I love this bow. I mean, obviously you can do it any size, but this one here is the 3/4 that I love so much. Okay, guys, that's going to do it for me for this latest layout that I have with travel junk. I have, let's just see. I do have, I'm looking in my pile. I know I have another travel junk that I did as a paper saver as well. And I'm going to be using some of that. Now, on most of my Stonehenge layouts, I added some of this cloud paper to like every one. This one, I didn't. It didn't look right when I tried to do a little square of it. And so even though I have that with all my other ones, if I do any journaling or anything like that, I may kind of cut these in little strips so that even though they're separated, I would still have some of that cloud on there, but I just couldn't decide to do that for this one, but wanted to share with you that future thoughts that I had as I bring these pages all together. Thanks so much for sharing your time with me. If you enjoyed this video, if you found it useful, helpful, or maybe you're like me and you just love watching YouTube while you're doing other things or dozing off to sleep, hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe. It sure does help me out here in the YouTube community, and I am ever grateful for it. I hope you'll join me for some more crafty time in the future. Take care and have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.